Eudaimonia, a guide for the uninitiated. Learn ancient Stoic principles. Emotional intelligence in a disorientated society. Written by Quinto Greco. Narrated by Mathew Pietri. Introduction. How often do we find ourselves merely reacting to events as they play out? Like toy boats buffeted by the wind, we are being constantly blown off course. Did you ever wish there was a way to get a handle on all of this? To feel like there is some way to manage? That maybe it could even be possible, even though we cannot stop the weather, to keep our hands on that tiller and set our own course? Well, there are no guarantees in life. Some rules are immutable. But luckily, there are some ways to set our course, even when the wind becomes a gale. One of those ways is philosophy, the study of our questions about existence, knowledge, and values. Relevance of philosophy. But how is philosophy relevant in our everyday life? Well, let's rephrase that definition for our modern context. Philosophy may involve the study of how to live our life, how to become smart about our choices, and how to be good people. These are issues we all face at some point in our life. Lying awake at night or staring in the mirror, thinking we don't have any idea what we're doing, and others do. Of course, in its purely scholarly form, philosophy, like religion, may not have all the answers. It asks a lot of questions and makes for some great Facebook quotes, but it doesn't always give us a clue on how to walk the course it sets. However, what if there was a practical philosophy that presents a set of principles and practices that anyone can understand and attempt to use? The philosophy that we discuss in the following chapters deliberately attempts to be practical. Stoicism in context. The internet has done for meaningful quotes what video replay has done for the World Cup. Opened our eyes to a lot of detail, but messed with the momentum. And while Stoic philosophy has some great quotes, believe me, everything sounds like the deepest truth, but without any knowledge of its meaning or context, it doesn't really help us. Maybe you've seen an insightful quip by Marcus Aurelius on Twitter or Instagram and thought, wow, I never really considered that before. But without the context of knowing any of the history or the source, this tiny moment of epiphany probably just slides by and gets lost in all of the noise of our modern lives. Our lives are filled with a lot of noise and nonsense, aren't they? Endless tiny details and concerns. TV shows, work, news, gossip, and that's just your Facebook feed. The input we receive daily is mostly a lot of meaningless detail that has very little to do with our bare survival needs or our peace of mind. So, what if you chose to investigate that incredibly inspiring Marcus Aurelius quote the next time you see it? Personally, I picked up a copy of Seneca's Letters from a Stoic one sunny day and sat in a coffee shop reading and nodding and underlining all the pertinent parts. Most of the book, really. It looks like a mess. Yet, even if you don't stumble into bookstores or libraries anymore, the internet is filled with books of Stoic philosophy, or advice on Stoics and how to live as one, just like this book. The opportunity is there. We simply need to grab it, because there aren't many downsides in pursuing a mode of thought whose end goal is to help each of us manage our expectations and feel at peace with ourselves and our lives. Of course, the first steps of learning about it are slower ones, but the philosophy of Stoicism is, above all things, a practical philosophy. There is a certain amount of conceptual information, but it is interwoven throughout. Once a few key concepts are grasped, the practice of Stoicism can be quite quickly put into action. The philosophy is an ancient one, dating back to 300 BCE, so we might ask ourselves what the value of putting this ancient mode of thought into practice would be. Does it still have any relevance in our world? Yes. Despite being devised in ancient Greece and further molded in the Roman Empire, the honest and insightful way that Stoicism addresses the human spirit means that it is very much applicable today. And if we want to cut out some of that noise from all the meaningless distractions in our lives today, we might even need it more than ever. This
Sample complete. Ready to continue?